welcome back to my channel. Don't mind my hair, I haven't fluffed it out yet. Today we're here with the Get Ready With Me, and I feel like it's a redo on a Get Ready With Me story that I did a few weeks back. So, a few weeks ago, which means we're not going to talk about products specifically today. I'm going to force myself to not talk about products because then that's how I forget to tell you the story. So a few weeks ago, I told you that I had a first date that I walked out of. And I think at the end of the Get Ready With Me, I was like, oh, I didn't even tell you the story. Go watch my vlog. I'll talk about it there. And I didn't talk about it in that vlog because it was kind of a weekend. So we're going to talk about it today. We're not going to talk about products, like I said. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Do you guys like my shirt? It's a bralette and a crop top together. I don't know. It's a little bit of a dichotomy, but we're just going to roll with it. Go ahead and get started. We are going to clip my hair back, and these clips, you guys always ask me about them. They're awful. They're not very good. I use them because they don't leave a crimp in my hair, but they don't really hold my hair up for more than as long as it takes me to do my foundation. So we're gonna go in with Hourglass Veil Mineral Mineral Veil Primer. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, so a few weeks ago, probably at this point, it's been like a month, I went out with my girlfriends to Six Flags, and I was super tired, and we were supposed to have a first date, me and this guy, right? I was very tired, but I don't flake. I'm not a flake unless I'm sick. There's an emergency with my kids, something happened, a company has an issue with something that I need to do, whatever. If it's a real reason, then that's the only reason. But then I wouldn't consider that flaking, right? That would be an emergency. Anyway, so he was out all day doing work stuff. He was tired. I'm pretty sure he had been drinking. I was out all day in the sun having fun with my girlfriends at Six Flags. But we decided to do it anyway. Now, we went from communicating, this is kind of like the perfect storm, right? So building up to the perfect storm. So we went from communicating very immediate, like the text response was pretty quick, and it was great. And then the day of us actually meeting, it was very spotty. And it was only spotty when I would be like, okay, well, plan it and I'll meet you. Gotta bring you guys in a little bit closer so you could see my face a little better. Anyway, so our communication only got spotty when I would say like, okay, well, why don't you just go ahead and plan it and then let me know. And he would kind of disappear for an hour or two. So I was like, okay, is this even happening? And I get very frustrated when you set the pace for something. You set the expectation. Like I said, I'm a zero expectations girl. Like, I have my standards, but expectations in terms of a date before even meeting, none. I'm going in with NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. This is in the shade Biscuit because I don't know if you guys saw, but I'm extra tan. So our communication went spotty, and I got a little frustrated, and I was like, okay, you can't go from eager beaver trying to meet me to sort of up in the wind, right? So I just, I was like, you know what? And I gave him many opportunities. I'm like, are you tired? Because you've been outdoors all day. There was like a golf tournament or like a golf, I don't know. It was like this big deal here in Dallas for golf. He's like, no, it's totally happening. And I'm like, okay, plan it. Nothing. So, hey, are you tired? Do you want to bail? Like, it's totally okay. Like, I'm good. Like, totally giving you a pass, right? No, it's totally happening. Okay, well, let me know what the plan is. So finally, I get a little aggravated, and I was like, you know what? Let's just do it a different day. Like, let's just the ship has sailed kind of thing, right? Let's just do it a different day. So he's like, no, you know, I just thought you would be more understanding. You know, I've been out all day. I've been working. It's been stressful and blah, 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 and whatever. And I'm like, I'm not even, like, that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, like, I'm telling you, take the lead, make the plans, and tell me where to show up, and I'll do it. But it was every time that I would try and, like, make plans concretely with him that he would just get weird about it. So I just opted to make the choice for both of us and be like, never mind, right? So he's like, well, how far south are you willing to drive? All right, so I am old-fashioned, and I do think guys should pick up girls, and I do think guys should open the door, and I do think guys should pay. However, times have changed. You know, I've let go of a lot of ideas that I have because you gotta adapt, right, with the changing times. Plus, with my job, I don't want every Joe Schmo to know where I live. I'm gonna go in with the Hello Happy Foundation from Benefit, 2 different shades, 5 and 6. I'm gonna mix half and half. And so I'm like, you know what? Let's just not, right? I'm like, let's just not. Let's just do it another day. It's no big deal. Like, ship has sailed. Let's just whatever. And he's like, no, you know, I just thought you would understand because it's been a long day. And I'm like, don't you remember that I was at Six Flags too? Oh, that's right. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you know what? I told you guys this in a vlog. I was like, the difference between succeeding and failing is just taking one more chance, right? So that's kind of how I view dating, is I can go on 72 bad dates, but if that 73rd is the one, then we're winning, right? So it's a risk worth taking. So this foundation reminds me exactly of one that L'Oreal came out with a few years ago. In fact, it was one of my very first reviews on my channel. I don't even know if it's still up, but it was that L'Oreal one that came in the rectangular glass bottle that was it L'Oreal or Maybelline? It was white with like a light purple. Do you guys remember that? It was one of my favorites. I don't know what happened to it, but it was one of my absolute favorites. And I ran out, never replaced it, and then I couldn't find it anymore. I was like, you know what? The difference between succeeding and failing is one more risk, one more chance, one more time, right? So I was like, all right, you know what? You're right. I'm going to be so understanding that I'm going to meet you all the way where you are. I'll go to Uptown. So for me, Uptown is about 35 miles. I was like, I'll go to Uptown. I'll meet you there. Tell me where to meet you and I will meet you there. And for me, it was almost, now it was like I had a point to prove. I had a chip on my shoulder at that point. So I take a Lyft all the way to Uptown. We actually meet at a heinous hour at this time. It was like 10:30, which I never meet for a first date that late. I never meet for a date that late at all. I don't even meet my friends that late. I am of an adult age where at that time, I'm already half asleep, you know? So we meet late. This guy talks about getting laid off for about 40 minutes. He got laid off like a year ago. He has a new job. He's doing great at it, but he's just ranting and ranting and ranting and ranting about how he was disposable to this company that he gave all of his time to, right? And I get it. Things like that affect me too, but we're on a first date. We're not in a relationship. If we were in a relationship, sure, I'll coddle you. You know what I mean? I'll cheer you up. I understand that some of us are sensitive and some things bother us for longer periods of time. And that would be something that I would be happy to do. Kind of like lick my boyfriend's wounds, make him feel a little bit better, distract him or whatever. I'm like, I just met you, bro. Like, I don't care, you know? So I'm just being polite. I'm like, oh yeah, that's awful. That really sucks. I'm so sorry, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Every time I do foundation on my neck, I'm like, ah. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with concealer and I am using macadamia and custard. I will just do a little brush of macadamia at the darkest part or the darkest portion of my under eyes. That's macadamia. And then I will go in with just a drop or two of custard right below it. So we're doing kind of like a really light highlight. Nothing too crazy. So the bar we went to actually closes at I think 11:30. Our last call's at 11 and then you have to be out by midnight. But literally down the street there are all the other bars. And so he's like, hey, you know what? They're about to close here. Let me close out my tab and we'll walk 1 block. I don't even remember, west, south, whatever. We'll walk 1 block and we'll find a new place to go to. And I was like, okay, cool. I love night walks. Like, I really like them. And I like to walk with a guy on a date, whether it's to the car or I don't know, outside of a restaurant to see the park or the fountains. I just feel like it's a really great way to see how chivalrous they are. You know, if you feel safe, there's a lot of things that you can figure out when you're walking with a guy, whether you feel safe with them, whether they protect you, they walk on the right side of the street, they kind of lead the way a little bit. Plus you can see if they like holding hands or whatever. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna, he's had a long day. I'm gonna keep an open mind. So we're walking, and as we're walking, he goes, you know what? The way that we're walking, we're actually gonna pass by my house. I'm just gonna give you guys a second to digest that information. I'm going in with Laura Mercier Translucent Loose. Have you guys digested that information already? Okay, cool. So, disclaimer, I'm not a prude. I'm 33 years old. I was married 8 years. I have 2 kids. I've been dating for a year. You know, like if a connection is right, a connection is right. At this point, our date is probably like a D. You know, it's like a D+. I haven't had any fun. He hasn't really asked me much about myself. You know, the whole build up, the spotty communication, all of that stuff. It was just all red flags. Like, I wanted to cancel the date. I tried to cancel. I couldn't. And like I said, I'm not a flake, so I felt bad. I guess I could have really pushed to cancel the date, but I was just trying to be polite. I felt like it said more about me if I pushed to cancel than about him, right? Okay, now I'm going to do my brows. And for brows, I like to brush through it with an Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz spoolie. She really needs to sell this spoolie just completely on its own. None of the brow pencils that I've used, none of them have this same spoolie. I'm sure she has like a trademark or whatever on it, on the design. Anyway, so we're walking, right, you guys? And he's like, do you see up ahead? Do you see right there that house that has the elephant ear in the window? And I was like, yeah. If he had said, look in that window, do you see the German Shepherd? It would have been a different story. Look in the window, that's a bulldog. That would have been a different story. But look in the window, that's an elephant ear. I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's my house. Do you want to go inside? Oh. I'm sorry, are we on the same date? I'm gonna let you guys think about that for a second while I do my brows, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I filled in my brows with the e.l.f. eyebrow pencil in taupe and the collab micro pencil or something, tiny pencil in taupe. Taupe and taupe? Are they both taupe? I guess so. And I put some clear brow gel on top. Okay, now we're gonna try the Persona Cosmetics Identity Palette. This is brand new. I haven't used it. I just found it in my stash. And it said on there that it was the perfect palette for brown eyes. So I was like, oh, don't mind if I do. So, okay. I gave you guys a second to really let that sink in. In YouTube talk, it really seemed like a second, right? To do my eyebrows. Because I said I'll be right back. You see where I'm going with this? Anyway, so we're going to go in with Humble. That's this color right there. A flat shader brush. Not that one. This one. And we're going to do that underneath our brow bone. Ooh, nice formula. I like it. So yeah, he's like, do you want to come inside? And I was like, no. Now for me, I am a single woman. I'm very, very thin. I have 0 upper body strength, but I always have some way of defending myself on my body. So I never feel like, oh my gosh, I'm helpless, right? I never have the helpless feeling. But I also try my best not to put myself in a situation where I may be at risk. It's not worth it. I'm a mother, I'm a businesswoman, like, I don't need to be putting myself at risk for no reason, right? So I don't want to add stress to the situation by saying, oh, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, what are you know, and just like poke the bear. So my reaction was like, no, you know, like, no, it's totally cool. Like, we're good. Where are we going? Like, where did we say we were going to go? Can we stay focused? So I'm going to go in with Charming. That's that color there. Actually, I have this other palette by BH Cosmetics that I kind of like too. There's this palette here. I think I want to go in with this color first, and then we'll go in with Charming. Charming is too dark. It's too much of like a off the deep end, you know? Big fluffy brush. This is Sigma E40. And yeah, so he's like, do you want to come inside? And I'm like, no. So he goes, are you kidding me? In that vocabulary, in that exact vocabulary. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, God, all women are the same with their stupid trust issues with men. I'm like, huh? I'm sorry, I'm sorry, where's Bob and what did you do with him? You know, like, it was like a switch. It was like this full-on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde switch. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? You know, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what are you talking about? Like, stop, you know, because I don't even know if he's like a little crazy. So I was like, what are you talking about? Stop. He's like, yeah, all women are the same with your trust issues with men. It's absolutely ridiculous. What do you think? I'm going to rape you? Like that. I'm going to rape you? And I'm like, whoa. And this was my reaction at that point. I was like, you don't gotta be dropping the R word around, bro. Like, no one went there, you know? And he's like, yeah, you're acting like I'm trying to get you in there to like sleep with you. This is, you women are all the same. You think that's all we want. You don't think that if I wanted to just sleep with someone, I could just make it happen. I wouldn't have to like try and trick you to get into my house. I was like, honestly, you told me let's walk to another bar. Then you randomly said we would pass by your house. And so I'm still in the mindset that we're going to a different location. Your location was never your house. So I just met you, you know? And he's like, yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And we were holding hands when we were walking. So at that point, he kind of like let my hand go, but like he let it go, almost like swung it. And I was like, are you actually upset? You know, and I'm the type of person that won't entertain an argument. I will walk away from an argument. Arguments for me are ridiculous because you're going to a state of heightened emotion, which is never going to solve anything. You're not going to think clearly, and you're going to say things usually 9 times out of 10 that you regret. So I need to cool off if I'm going to have an argument. But if someone's trying to have an argument with me and I'm not engaged, I'm like, look, I want to throw cold water on the fire, right? And so I'm like, are you actually upset? Like, I really had no intention to hurt your feelings. That was never my intention. And so if I made you feel uncomfortable or some type of way, now keep in mind, if anyone should feel uncomfortable in this scenario, it's this one, right? So I was like, look, if I made you feel uncomfortable or hurt your feelings, I'm really sorry. That's not what I meant. Honestly, I'm just in the mindset that we said we were going to go to a different place. That's what we're doing, so let's do that, you know? And he's like, no, like blah, 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 you know, women have issues and da-da-da-da-da, and he just kept going on and on and on. Charming. Smaller blending brush. You know, all women are the same. You guys think that, you know, that's all we want from you guys, and you guys need to figure out your issues and blah, 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 and da-da-da-da. And he kept going and going and going. And we're still walking at this point, right? And the reason that I kept walking is because this area of town is going through gentrification, right? So a lot of the streets are muddy, they're dirty, the sidewalk is broken, the street lamps don't work. So I'm just trying to get to a really well-lit place. Or like a main street so that I could call my Lyft, you know what I mean? And so he's like, yeah, women, they're the blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I am really sorry. Like, I didn't really expect the night to take this turn. I really hope that, you know, you understand that I wasn't trying to hurt your feelings. Like, please forgive me, whatever, you know, like, don't be upset. And I even tried to hug him, like, hey, you know, it's totally okay. And he like did this, like. So at that point, we get to like the main street, and I was like, so you're serious about this, right? Like, you really think that I didn't want to go into your house because I have issues with men, right? Like, that's what you think? And he goes, yeah, all women are the same, blah, blah, blah. And he kept going and going and going. And so he just made me realize that's just his style. He's someone that doesn't let things go. Kind of like the whole getting laid off situation, right? And so I said, you know what? I don't think it's fair that you're making this gross generalization about women all having issues with men. However, what I will say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, if anyone here has an issue, it's you spending the last hour of our date talking about a job that let you go a year ago. So if anyone has some issues to figure out, it's you. Thank you for tonight, and thank you for making me waste my time. And I left. I felt so like badass at that moment because I don't stick up for myself. I'm not that girl. I will walk away and it's the path of least resistance. I never stick up for myself. I walked away on air, I swear, you guys. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with, I found this pencil, a Caviar stick from Laura Mercier that I want to use. It's a blue one. It's called Sapphire. And I thought that I would apply that to my lid, but I don't know. Ooh, that is actually exactly what I imagined it would be. This is kind of like an eye look that my mom did when I was growing up. She always had like dark, 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 dark navy shadow. She wore like an everyday smoky eye, you guys. Or like a charcoal. And so I was like, I saw it in my collection when I was decluttering. I don't know if you guys noticed my background, but it's a little different. So I felt so empowered. Here's the problem though, is he kept following me. And so he followed me to this busy intersection, and I sat on this little wall, this little like, it was like a little, I don't know, planter or like parameter wall around a structure right on a busy intersection. Synthetic brush. And he sat there kind of next to me, and I was trying to find a lift, right? Like something nearby. And I realized that if I sat there, like, I at that point, I didn't want to fix anything. I didn't want to have a conversation anymore. I didn't want to figure out where it went south. You know what I mean? I just wanted to get out of there, especially after telling him off like that. So we both sat there on the ledge, and when I noticed that there were a ton of lifts, but they were all coming in the opposite direction, I literally looked at him and like ran across the street. Like I bolted across the street to the opposite side, and my lift picked me up in like 30 seconds. And I was like, whew, okay, home free. Now, I want you guys to know that as a single woman in my 30s, like I said, that's been married, is divorced, is out there in the dating world, like I do take extra precautions when I go on these dates to meet strangers. Like I said, I always have something to protect myself. That totally sounded like something else. That's not what I meant, cochinas. I always have something to protect myself or to defend myself. Sam and I have each other's permanent locations tracked on our phones, which, I mean, I know if they throw my phone away, it doesn't really help, but I always tell her, like, this is the person I'm meeting, this is their phone number, this is the link to the restaurant, our reservation is at this time, this is the guy's name. Like, I send her a screenshot of our text conversation where we agree on where we're meeting. So, I mean, there's always like a trail, right? There's a trail. Like, here's the picture of the guy. This is his name. This is his phone number. This is the screenshot of our conversation of where we said we were going to meet. You know, you can't be too safe these days. You don't know who has, you know, bodies and acid vats in their basements. So you just have to be super careful. I used to be very naive when I was younger, you know, and I still believe in the innate good of humans. I went a little overboard over there with my blue pencil blending, huh? So anyway, I believe in the innate good of humans, and I feel like, you know, we make maybe bad choices in life, but we're not, you know, normally horrible people. So, but I've just gotten to the point where I'm like, hey, you know what, Dani, you're a mom now. You need to make, you know, you need to be extra careful that the decisions and that the things that you're doing and the places that you're going and the people that you're meeting are only going to complement your life, that you're not putting yourself so much at risk where it's just not worth it. You know, I have way too much to lose at this point in my life. So I'm definitely careful. So if you guys are online dating and you're out there and you're meeting strangers and stuff, have a buddy system. You know, have someone that always knows where you're going, what you're wearing. Like, send them a picture of your outfit, share a location with your friend, tell him the guy's name. If you guys can Google him, you know, it just, as much verification as you can. And I know it sounds psycho, but you never know these days. You know what I mean? You gotta be careful. This is really pretty, but it's kind of crazy. It's not what I was going for. I didn't think it was going to be this blue. I have a second date tonight, and this might be a little scary for the guy. But you know what, you guys? This is who I am. So might as well, if it scares him, might as well scare him now, right? I'm going back in with Charming. That's that warm brown, and I am running that along the crease to kind of blend out more of that blue shade. I feel like maybe we can go over it a little bit with a darker matte. That is like the worst blending job I've ever done in my life. So yeah, I'm gonna go in with just more and more shades until it just blends and it doesn't look as awful as it looks right now. But yeah, so that's the story. So I walked away, and I honestly thought, you guys, I honestly Bible thought that I was going to hear from him. Like, hey, so sorry. It was a long day. Totally had a meltdown. I apologize. Not like trying to see me again, just basically cognizant and well aware that he was crazy. But no, I didn't hear from him. He didn't text me to make sure I got home safe, nothing. So it just might be one of those situations where I met the wrong type of person. But I am so happy that I am safe, you know, and that I have a little protector, a little guardian angel that thankfully has always had my back. And I've never been in a situation where, you know, I fear for my safety. Although that night was kind of close. Anyway, so I guess I didn't walk out of a middle of a date. I walked out in the middle of a street. I mean, it was halfway through the date, so there's that. But yeah, man, this stuff, the stuff that you see in dating now and just... I don't remember ever having to worry about things like this before I got married. And I still remember my mom would be like, be careful and do this and do that. And so my mom was always very precarious and careful of where I was going and who I was with. And kind of this idea or mentality that people are guilty before they mess up, just so that you're safe or something. I don't know if that makes sense, but... yeah, it was definitely interesting. So I don't remember what I told you guys in the intro of this video, but I'm going to a Def Leppard tribute band show tonight, so that'll be super fun. I love Def Leppard. I love tribute band shows. So if there's ever like a tribute band for Rat or The Cult, Kiss, all of those like hair bands, big rock metal bands from the 80s, I'm like, sign me up. Totally down for that. I went in with Fearless. That's that color there. My makeup is starting to look very appropriate for the type of function that I'm going to today. I need to leave my eyes alone. They're just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. What am I gonna do? Okay, let me dust off my excess powder, and then we'll go in and try and fix it. But let's get rid of this stuff first. Since that blue is super metallic, I think I'm gonna go in with this one here. This one kind of reminds me of Plumage. I think it's Plumage from MAC. And I'll put that kind of to diffuse the whole happening here. That was my proper English. So I feel like it'll tone down that super metallic look on the lid, right? And then we definitely have to go in with a warmer brown towards the top so that the darkness here doesn't look as dark. So let's take a blending brush, this one here, and how about this color right there? No, that's not dark enough. Let's start with this one, actually. We'll start with that, just a little tap, because that's pretty red. And we'll do a little pass, just a little light pass. See what I'm doing? Just like a gentle pass. And that way we don't bring up any more of that dark color. So just a gentle pass here. Now we're gonna go in with a flat shader brush and we'll take that same reddish color and we'll run that on the lower lash line. I was totally wanting to do the blue on the lower lash line, but I think that might be way too much. Way too much. Same thing on the other side. We're obviously going to go in with eyeliner in the tight line and waterline as per usual, so that it kind of ties all the smokiness together. Before we go in with mascara, I do want to finish the rest of my face because I want to use setting spray since I will be outdoors tonight. So I'm going to zoom out. We'll do contour, bronzer, blush, and highlight, and then we'll set, and then we'll do mascara. For bronzer, I'm actually going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Bronze and Glow, which is my favorite ever. I just bought a replacement for it because it does have a big hole in the middle, and I'm so clumsy, you guys. I know I'm going to drop it. Now, I have been getting this tweet and DM a lot. Oh my God, Dani, now that you're super Orlando tan, what are you doing for foundation? Like, did you have to go buy new stuff, or how are you making your products work? So a couple of things. The Hello Happy foundation arrived just in time. So I was like, this better be a good one because it's all I have at the moment. But what I did do is I went to Sephora in store and I bought the darkest shade of Urban Decay's One and Done Naked Skin. Naked Skin One and Done in medium dark. That's the darkest shade that they have. And so this is something that you guys should also have or keep in mind, especially if you're going to be outdoors or like when the seasons change. So have a darker shade of your favorite foundation formula. As dark as you want. Like, you could go to the end of the spectrum and get the darkest one, because then you could always drop that in half a drop at a time until you make your right color, right? So I'll just go to the opposite side. I'll get the darkest color and then I will make that work. It's the same formula, but it's a different ratio just so that we get a color that matches. Now we're going to take that same brush and that same product, and this is the other hack. If you didn't bronze before, now you're going to need to start, because my face never matches my body when I go out in the sun. Never, ever, ever, ever. The sunscreen that I use on my face is so good that not a drop of color besides my freckles deepening on my nose, not a drop of color or tan actually gets on my face. So you'll see my skin, like my face is a really, really light shade, and then the rest of my body is really dark. It actually looks like it matches a lot less than it does, but the lights are really, really bright. So yeah, you take a bronzer like this and you go ham sandwich on your face and kind of go around the outside of your face, adding more color slowly. And I like to use a bronzer that isn't fully matte. It's almost like a really gentle, this is like a really gentle satin formula. So it only comes, I think, in 2 shades. So this is the original shade, which is the lightest. And I just go around and around and around until my face looks as golden as it needs to. For blush, we're going to go in with Clinique's Defining Nudes. That's this little palette here. It's really cool because you could be as deep or as light as you want when you're applying this powder. So what I like to do is I kind of like to swirl it around all over a ton of product, and I'll start on one side, just bump, 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 and then I'll move over to the other side, and then I'll go back, So you see what I'm doing? I'm kind of like slowly depositing product so that it's even. I always get anxiety with products like this that have 3 different ones, that if I dip and do one side and then dip and do the other, it's gonna be 2 different shades. Is it gonna be that obvious? Probably not, but that's just my own idea. So I'll do it a lot and then I'll go on both sides, on both sides, on both sides, and then I'll blend it out. All right, since the 80's already vommed all over my face, we're gonna go in with a subtle highlight just to not add insult to injury. This is Kevyn Aucoin Candlelight Highlight. We're gonna go in with this little baby brush from Senna. Obviously, the most important place of your face is your nose. This is gonna give people irrational rage. I apologize in advance, but I can totally relate. Then we're gonna go in tops of my cheekbones. It's funny now that my complexion, or that the foundation shade that I'm using is so much darker, I notice things that I just would assume would look good on me. Now I'm like, was that the best life choice, Dani? It's so funny how things change so dramatically when your complexion does. I mean, my face complexion didn't, but everything else did, and making it all match, it's hard work, you guys. Okay, now we're gonna do setting spray. We're gonna go in with Skindinavia's Bridal setting spray. I do too much. You really shouldn't. This is one of those things where I'm like, more is more. It's like, no, Dani, more is not more. More is not more. And then you gotta dry it really fast so you don't get spotty. I've actually grown fond of using setting spray for 2 reasons. A, because my makeup lasts all day. But B, because I feel like it almost melts everything together. It just kind of diffuses everything. So instead of having like, you know, those sections, it just kind of makes it all come together. Anyway, I'm gonna jump off camera. I'm gonna do mascara and I will be right back. Okay, so we already did mascara and I went ahead and applied a brown liner to the tight line and waterline. Like always, I used the Smashbox Always On Gel Liner in Brewed. Then I can't decide for lips if I want to do Liar or Sugar Daddy from Too Faced. I think the paler we go, the better at this point because the eyes are so dramatic. But let's see. Let's do a little experiment. So that's Sugar Daddy. That's too pale. All right, well that answers that question. And then this is gonna be Liar from Urban Decay. This is their cream formula. Oh my goodness. This is not supposed to end up looking sexy. And I'm getting a lot of sexy vibes from this makeup look, so you're welcome. No, my second date's gonna be like, anyway, that is it for this look. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. All of the products that I use will be listed and linked in the description box below. And I think that's it. I promise you guys, I'll never leave you on a cliffhanger like that again. I just get so squirrely and distracted, you guys. Squirrel, you know what I mean? That's just how it works. Anyway, like I said, all the products will be listed and linked in the description box below. But for now, I think that's it, guys. Y'all know what to do. If you found this video useful, entertaining, and learned something, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, this coffee break is over. Bye, guys.